Hey everybody. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. Sorry, mosquito. One of those things is something my grandmother would talk about. She was a big believer in the spirit world. Not to say that she would put her faith in the spirit world, but she believed it existed. At least it existed. At the very least, it's like a thin veil, close to us, yet just far enough that you can't touch it. It's almost like reaching out and touching wind. It's just barely there. I almost wonder, with all this CERN technology, with the planets being in such alignments that they're going into, the fact that the solar EMP is going to happen soon. What if that breaks that veil? What if that makes certain things possible that would be normally impossible? I've already been noticing some weird things going on, even in my own home. Technology just going off on their own. Certain toys that my kids have that just, they sound off at the weirdest times. Like, I was just watching that new Pokemon movie. You know, the one with Ryan Reynolds. There's a scene where they try to reenact some moment where Mewtwo is saying humans are evil. The moment that happened, I heard one of my kids' mommy shark little things start going off. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark. It would just keep going. And then as soon as I came into that room, I was thinking about what my grandmother told me, and it immediately cut to grandma shark, grandma shark, grandma, 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 which just sent a chill down my spine. I can't say where my wife works at or what she does, but there is an individual that she has to deal with that takes medications as a form of schizophrenia, or at least that is what has been said about this person. Apparently, this person has moments where they become something else, someone else. And recently it's been happening frequently. Before it was very rare. Now it's almost every night around 3 p.m. 3 a.m. So every night at 3 a.m. Which definitely has me worried, because some of the things said involves murder, pretty much. Which does not make me feel safe for my wife. I won't go too much into that because of, again, where she works. Can't talk about such things. So, that's as close as you're going to get to know about anything, and that's as close as I know about anything. Something interesting, however, about that film, because, again, when it comes to films, I always analyze it to see what message is being truly presented to us, because, again, Hollywood does not make films for us and our personal, laughs and giggles and enjoyment. It's programming. Everything's programming. And it's something that I thought was interesting in there is ultimately the main plot. Spoiler alert for those who want to see this detective film with, the whole Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu. The bad guy in it wants to mix Pokemon and humanity into one. And the only way that they can do that is if all the Pokemon are insane or hopped up on drugs. Pretty much it's a mix of the two. I almost wonder if that's almost like a crumb to what is to possibly come. Because I've seen other films like this Us thing. In there, it talks about the DUMBs, deep underground military bases. It actually talked about some very factual information, which I thought was very surprising, seeing as the way they discussed it was almost exactly to detail as to what my grandfather explained. Minus a few things, obviously, the movie made it seem like you could just get right into these DUMBs. But obviously, you'd have to go a deep, long ways into these labyrinths. And I'm fairly sure it's not filled with a shitload of clones. But the way they described it, especially the fact that there was a day where all these people come out and they're just psychopaths. They're the same people, but they're just psychopaths. And they're there to replace the other ones. And I see this film, this Pokemon film, where they all have to be crazy to be imbued into these things, so they can combine two things. What if that's the idea? Lucifer wants to rule on Earth, so what if the Antichrist is supposed to be a vessel to which can be imbued with the spirit of Satan? And, well, what if possession is supposed to be a part of the process for all the rest of us? Maybe not all of us, but a good part of the population. And that's the use of the technology, the legalizing of certain kinds of drugs, the slow implementation, of marijuana. I mean, haven't you noticed, like, there's enough states now where they do recognize the benefits, and they like to say that it's all paperwork this, paperwork that, and that Big Pharma's fighting it. Big Pharma's fighting a losing battle. It's pretty obvious. But just like when there's people in the Democratic Party fighting a losing battle against those on the right, and those of us with eyes to see and ears to hear see that both sides are two hands of the same problem, then it's just a puppet show. They're trying to give us almost like a real life movie, saying that, oh, there's good guys and there's bad guys, even though that the good guys, it's perspective. It's not that they're actually truly good. Like Project Veritas, they do a lot of good things exposing criminalistic people, but I've noticed that they only do some of the most low people. Like, they don't expose people on the level of the Clintons, I guess you could say. They wouldn't go for someone like Chuck Schumer. They wouldn't go for people on the Trump side. Like, that's something else I've noticed, is it's like they're trying to give us a show. They're trying to give us something to eat up. Anyways, these are all just thoughts. These are all just postulations. Because I do believe that there is another side, and I definitely do believe that possession is possible, especially for those who are clinically insane. I think that's why most people who are clinically insane end up being possessed. That's why I think psychopaths are. I think psychopaths are born without a soul. They're just vessels, so that demons can just possess them, period. And that's a weird thought to have, but I definitely think that about them. Anyhow, I think I've made this video long enough. All these are just postulations. I know only as much as anyone else. But when I think, and I feel, and I pray to God, it's almost as if He's trying to warn me to stay aware of what's to come.